Alright. Gonna make sure this is live before I go any further. Yes. Yes, this does in fact look to be live. Hello. But yeah, going on the desktop version, you see on my phone, I mean, it looks to be live, but yeah, hello. Hello. Is a Sinister Gambino here with a new stream. And in this stream, I'm gonna be going over the event month for this month, whatever, for, of course, September 2025 in Reddit Online. Now, I forget if I did this format last time, but I think I did it, like, when the update first came out. The kind of update, not downloadable, but new content update, like new huge content update, but I started on the main menu here. I figure I'll do it here again. I forget if I did it last time or if I forgot, like I was changing up or whatever last time. Yeah, going to the title of the stream, there is apparently 4 times money and XP on the featured series, which you can actually also see on the like text as well beneath the logo when hovered over free roam right now as well, apparently. Yeah. Currently, that actually looks to be the Race and Shootout series, apparently. Mixed series of The Last Stand and Sport of Kings in a variety of locations, apparently like Ainsburg Mine, Benedict Pass, Armadillo, and more. Apparently is what the Race and Shootout series is. I feel it's just mentioning in the description part of it, though, shootout kind of stuff, though. But I mean, it is called Race and Shootout to be fair, so it should be what it sounds like, of course. Besides for that, of course, though. And yes, I suppose since... Yeah, I'm going over each series now, I might as well go over the other maps, like the other kinds as well, I mean. Okay, but... Yeah, on the Rockstar Newswire, 4 times money and XP on the featured series. Yeah. This whole event month, by the way, looks like it's going until October 6th, so it goes for quite a few days actually into October as well, apparently, but obviously it's mostly for September 2025. Hello. Hello. Oh yeah, apologies, my controller died. Yeah. Anyways, what I was saying, yeah, the event month basically goes until October 6th, but obviously, like I was saying, is it mostly goes for September 2025. It's obviously for this month of September, clearly, as of when I'm recording it. And also, let me make sure to... I think it was day before G-Town on, actually. I think it should be. Yeah, because otherwise I wouldn't have been doing this stream here. I just kind of guessed, to be honest, yeah. Or, nah, I kind of knew that. Yeah, September 4th for that one, yeah. So I still gotta do that one, obviously. As I am apparently, of course, recording this on Monday, so we'll probably be a Tuesday stream or Wednesday somehow. So, yeah. Newswire dates September 2nd, 2025. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, event month goes until October 6th, but yeah, most for September 2025. Yeah. Anyways, sorry, I'm all like all over the place here. And apparently, also they're doing something with like an emote. Apparently, by the way, where if you emerge victorious from the featured series any time, basically for the month through October 6th, you will get the Who Me emote. Apparently, okay. So you can just get a little emote if you win like a mode or something, basically for the month for the featured series being. But anyways, week 1 is right now, obviously, basically September 2nd to September 8th. I am recording this on the 8th, though, so it is kind of a day for it, though, a full day. But you might have a little bit Tuesday as well. I'm not sure how it works the most compared to G-Town but yeah, I assume it works similar to, like, time-wise when it happens, or, like, even a bit after or something. Contrast series is apparently what it is. So it's actually called the Contrast series, contrary to what it says for Risen Shootout series here. So interesting. I don't know, like, why they're using different kind of names for the series, but okay. But in the, like, parentheses, the left to right parentheses, it has The Last Stand and Sport of Kings, like it pretty much says here anyways. No, it seems to be pretty much correct size for maybe the Race Shootout series is maybe supposed to instead say Contrast series. But whatever. Week 2's apparently for September 9th to September 15th looks to be hardcore special edition modes, apparently. So most definitely it looks like it has the like rules of like no ability cards, like no consumables, whatever. I think is the usual couple things for hardcore, basically for the case of a showdown mode in particular. Ability card one I would say definitely pretty much sucks, but yeah. I'm not really a consumable user, so honestly, whenever those are kind of disabled, it's kind of a good thing I feel. When it comes to like a competitive mode, really, I just the hardcore special edition mode is what classifies as a special edition mode. I don't really know, of course. Which obviously have to wait till week 2, which I'm obviously not going to be streaming during since obviously these month things they do it for like a whole month for these events for Red Dead in particular. No real reason to play for the subsequent weeks, to be honest. For the most part. And then week 3 looks to be September 16th to September 22nd is Capture series, apparently. So like some capture the flag kind of moves, like whatever other kind of capture things, basically. Whatever. I presume. And then week 4, September 23rd to September 29th, looks to be Team Gun Rush series. Alright, so yeah, it's not say that Gun Rush game mode, but the team version of it. Okay. Good for those that prefer pointing teams and might not be good at these modes solo, I guess, but yeah. Last but not least, it looks like for week 5, though, for September 30th to October 6th. That is looking to be the Hardcore Pro series, apparently. So, like, if it's Pro series, I mean, it's going to be, what, harder than even the, like, Hardcore Special Edition modes somehow? With, like, the kinds of modes featured or something? I'm not all that 100%, but interesting. So it looks like weeks 2 and 5 are the hardcore this time around, and weeks 1, 3, and 4 are your more traditional ones, it seems, this time around. For those maybe not as, like, wanting to do hardcore, but do want to take advantage of 4 times and, like, showdowns and stuff. Speaking of 4 times, like, how good would 4 times really be? Honestly, when it comes to showdown modes, they're kind of like the adversary modes, I would say, for GTA 9, where really they're just more like modes of fun rather than like modes of serious money making and stuff. Player versus player competitive game modes, those don't really tend to be amazing like at all, I would say, really. Unfortunately for that kind of stuff. So yeah, the money, I really don't, even at 4 times, see being all that too worthwhile. And then XP. Honestly, kind of hard to say on the XP, I feel. Apparently in GTA 9, what ends up being 2 times actually oftentimes is the best for XP, and this has been 4 times, so like, arguably this should be able to be pretty much one of the better XP things probably for the event. So I'm sure it could be good for XP, especially if you win the mode. But yeah, that's the problem. Of course, it's player versus player, like competitive game mode. So obviously, you have to actually do good in the mode to actually, even with 4 times, get the good amounts of XP. So probably just better off of other XP opportunities, anyways. To be honest. Yeah, honestly, I don't see too much reason to go for this, quite frankly. Unless you're just the biggest person when it comes to playing the showdown modes in the game. But yeah, I don't know like exact amounts for like money and stuff, but yeah, I do presume it's not anything crazy. Especially compared to other stuff I will be going over for later, of course. Alright, but yeah. There's also discover rare collectibles and unearth bonuses. Yeah, there's collector stuff going on, as you might also be able to see to the right of what I'm on, like covered over basically. There's apparently 3 times rewards for free roam missions, apparently. Are those the purple ones? They might be the purple ones. Thinking. But yeah, I'll take more of a look proper, of course, when the actual game itself. It's apparently a thief. Tongue says Pokemon Con. There's also there is yes also free fast travel apparently. That's gonna be huge for just getting right to where you need to be. Especially if you have the wilderness camp that I believe lets you fast travel pretty much just about from just about anywhere. And it would be surely free from that as well. Which I think was originally like an Outlaw Pass theme, but I think you can get it from the fence if you have not done so for some reason. If you missed like the original like Outlaw Pass or whatever that gave that feature in the first place. Hmm. Yeah, 2 times collector. Yes, yes, yes. There is 2 times money, roll XP, and XP on the collector set sales. So yes, yes, yes. But yeah, for money, collector tends to be the craziest roll, I'm pretty sure, in the game when it comes to money, so that's very huge. Arguably, it's probably even the hugest money opportunity in the game, or one of them even. Roll XP. Yeah, roll XP, obviously, if you still need that for any reason, then that's obviously good for that, but once you hit 20, there's no more, like, use for the XP. pretty sure the only role in the game that has used for XP after you're complete with it technically is Bounty Hunter, with the prestigious like Bounty Hunter license and like the rank 30 that only that role has, without every other one capping at 20 and all that. So it all depends on like where you're at with the role really. Obviously it's a fantastic time to go for any of that. Regular XP, if you do things right with it, I believe also is pretty insanely good as well. So all that pretty much already blows out like anything with the like featured series rate for 4 times. That's why it's 4 times. Obviously, pretty much it's because like at default in 2 times, 3 times, it's not really the greatest. You want to put 4 times on a collector unless they're like really crazy insane for something one day in the office. I'm sure. Like obviously that would be overpowered, kind of in a way. Okay, so I assume this would also be for weekly as well, not just the like full sets though. Yeah, I think. Yeah, the weekly ones if you don't have a lot of time, the weekly ones can definitely be pretty good depending on like what like is going on for the week. I'll go over the week 1 weekly collection, but I don't really know if there's much of a way to consistently like find out information about upcoming sets or anything. I've never really found a way to do that per se. I'll kind of explain what you're looking for good weekly sets, I feel, anyways. Yeah, I don't really think there's anything else going on here in this menu, so it's time to pretty much get into the game then. And then I'm not sure how people like this method compared to like already being in the game, being in the game already, to be fair, but yeah, I don't know. Like, kind of with this newest like update, I kind of want to try doing this similar styling of it, obviously, to GTA Online, where you pretty much have to start in the main menu, or it's like, cause like it's not like Reddit, I think, where you can go in the menu like while you're in a lobby. GTA Online, you have to be in the menu like first, really, I believe. I feel if I'm doing it like that for that game, I also might as well do it like that for this one. Regardless of like how anybody feels, really, honestly, though. Again, I might have forgot to do that last week. I kind of forget, but like, if I did, that was that's because I'm used to doing it a certain way, obviously, compared to like another way. Benefits menu apparently here got updated. Okay. Not sure if it's talking about like that stuff or my offers and rewards, honestly, but whatever. Whatever. But sure, push me in there. Well, actually, first of all, let me make sure. Yeah, I kind of want to get out of Saint Denis, the huge like, town area, city, closest thing to a city in the game, basically, area. Could you even call this a city? What are really cities back in the days? I'm not really sure on that. Honestly, there's kind of more leaning towards town. Like, whatever. Alright, but yes, sure, on to the benefits section of being here, whatever, just come around. Collector bonuses. Discover rare collectibles and honor bonuses, yes. Complete collector sets in exchange, yeah. Honestly, going over like a lot of stuff basically already covered. Not surprising, obviously, since there's like two different like kind of menu things for Reddit Online, which is kind of cool in a way, but yeah. But yeah, certain collector sets, so basically be like above ground, like what's it called? Like, I'm trying to think from like alphabetical. Like there's American Wildflowers, bird eggs, just like all the different like tarot cards. That's quite a few. There's several, for example, you can find like above ground, like outright entirely. Basically, that would be like the easiest ones to complete, where you literally can go on like some collector map on like your preferred search engine, like Google or something. And there's like the GeanRopke, GeanRopke collector map, I think is the huge one for Reddit Online. You can also find it, by the way, on GTAweb.eu if you also use like the GTA collector map kind of thing out there. Just like this GTAweb.eu kind of. there's yes, this GTAweb.eu like collector mapping or something. For GTA Online 6, it's linked there, I'm pretty sure as well. For an easy way to find it. And then, yeah, I think there's only like 4 sets that are kind of considered like partially randomized, and I think those are always the Lost Jewelry ones. Like bracelets. Whatever kind of Lost Jewelry, actually. Rings, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, and like a couple other kinds like that. Lost Jewelry ones, I think, are partially randomized. Yes. I'm not 100% what partially randomized kind of is, I'll be honest, but realistically thinking, I feel it's like kind of like a hybrid of like above ground, like an underground outright, which is the last category, of course, I'll be getting into a bit. I feel it's kind of hybrid there, where like some of them you can find like guaranteed spots, where other ones there's like some RNG involved. That's what I would think partially randomized would be, or something. Depending on like what particular like ones are like that or not, whatever. For the few sets that are like that, apparently, from my understanding, and then underground collectibles, like the entirely underground collectible sets for the most part, aside from like maybe like one rare exception for like arrowheads in particular, but yeah. You have like the arrowheads, the coins, the different fossil types that eventually added later on. I think that weren't like initial collector set things. Those are ones that are pretty much deep, completely above ground, the ones that like the most randomness, like RNG aspects to them, and therefore are going to be your most difficult ones to collect, but also I think are the ones that tend to also be worth the most money, I think, as well. We had arrowheads. The rare exception I was going to mention for that, by the way, is there is a random event, I think, where there's like a animal that'll have like a arrowhead like lodged into it or something. That I think is the only case where you can find like certain ones of those completely above ground. But yeah, for the most part, those are those ones that need like the field shovel and the metal detector, especially to find them easy. And of course, using that Gene Rock collector map on the search engine makes it extremely easy to pinpoint an exact spot on the map, even without even necessarily having to use the metal detector and all that. But yeah. Even then, with the random event, I think it's like still pretty random what arrowhead it actually is, and I wouldn't even be surprised if you can't even get all of the different arrowheads for that. And even then, the random and even then, the random event I assume doesn't spawn that frequent. I would imagine either. So it's just probably better off to treat like any of the other complete underground ones, or just go like to the different spots and find them and hope you get the good ones that you actually need still, and not like a duplicate or something. But yeah, they're completely random which ones you get for those. The Gene Rock collector map can only show you like where you'll find an arrowhead, a coin, a fossil, but it can't tell you which one you'll dig up, unlike something like the American Wildflowers, where it can actually tell you the exact kind you'll get and everything. So it can tell you where you can get the certain types. It will just be completely random which one you actually get in the spot compared to the other types, which is why those are the hardest ones to complete. See, on the Gene Rock collector map, you can find like the icon for arrowhead, the icon for coins, and then the different types of couple like fossil types, whatever, subtypes, whatever. That's really the best it can do for you, I think, there on those last few sets. But I think all that kind of information is kind of most I can kind of mention for the most part. Again, they don't straight up mention wiki collections, but I think they usually include the wiki collections as well for 2 times. So that should also be 2 times for each week, I think, for the weekly collections. And weekly collections, by the way, are always like free items, basically, I believe. And wiki collections can also have stuff like animal materials and stuff that aren't even in like the regular collections that can arguably be even easier to get even than anything in an actual like collector set in a way. But anything with the 2 times money roll XP collector set sales, or be a weekly collection or full on collection, getting those whole sets will be absolutely worthwhile. I think you get something insane like 1,000, like 500 XP, or maybe even like 3,000 or something, if that's even like the regular amount or something. If you do like a weekly one even, and those can be pretty quick, especially if it's a fully above ground one or something like that. Yeah, absolutely insane stuff going on there, of course. Or scores. Yeah, I gotta claim that, that's for sure. I didn't claim it being a Capitalia or something, which I kind of regret, but like, to be fair, I think it was kind of full on it anyways, and I never used Capitalia, whatever the fuck all, like, pronunciation on that currency, like, billion fucking currency in the game shit, basically. Alright, but yes, apparently on to this one here. It is salvage and condor egg free roam events, apparently, for 3 times money and XP. So I think I was kind of mentioning the purple ones. It is those indeed. And it's the 2 collector ones, it looks like. Those are 3 times money and XP, apparently. Again, if it's anything more than 2 times, it's usually because it's not as good or of a thing that can go on, really. Kind of, to an extent. Salvage, that's like a free roam event where you can get like a bunch of like underground collectibles, like any kind of collectible. I think even really kind of maybe even the above ground one, maybe even yes the above ground ones. Yeah, salvage can be pretty good for your common collectibles or like some of the like uncommon ones at least. Surely, I would have to imagine. No, there's not, I believe, an official like rarity thing or anything, but yeah, yes, it is. Oh, and also that Gene Rock, also yes, that Gene Rock collector map also does have a good function for the free roam events as well. The Gene Rock collector map can actually tell you what free roam events come up as well, by the way, and like when it will happen, I believe, if I remember using it before. So not only is it good for collectibles, it can also be used to know what the purple free roam events will be for like a set time or something as well. So it is also, yes, good for that, even if it's like a non-collector focused one, of course, as well. Worth mentioning. So use that map and you'll get a good idea of when those 2 will even show up in the first place instead of having to do like a bunch of guesswork or something. Something. But yeah, salvage, salvage. Again, I pretty much explained salvage, I feel. Seems you get the most money if you get the most collectibles or something during that, which kind of makes sense. It's obviously going to be like a competition kind of thing. You're trying to get the most collectibles. Or, oh man, that Condor Egg free roam event. I think there's other kinds of eggs you can get, like the actual common eggs, but that's a collectible that I don't think is part of like any sort of collectible set, and it's like one egg that's worth $1,000 or something like that. Some insane amount, I believe. Yeah, that's a crazy one. I think one time somebody was like purposely waiting for me to try and get it or something, and somebody used like an explosive like bullet on me to ragdoll me or something, and then they took it instead or some shit. Yeah, that shit goes crazy a bit for the Condor Egg, $1,000. Cause why the fuck would it not if it's $1,000 in game or something? Actually insane. Yeah, that's a very insane free roam event. Now that itself is not 3 times, I believe. I think it's actually just the mission payout, like the actual free roam event payout. There's obviously like a payout for who like does the best at like a free roam event. It should be that payout, not the actual collectible for the Condor Egg, especially because again, that would be another something that would be like overpowered and broken or something. Like if they did do that. Pretty sure it's the actual like mission payout, which is nothing basically. Which is going to be peanuts basically. So you want to do the like collector events more for the actual collectibles, basically, than you want for the actual free times, money, XP, just to be clear. Especially Condor 8, because that's a very rare thing to be able to get. Yeah, I don't know, I don't think there's much more to mention there. But they are very much worth your time for the collectibles, easily. I think I've explained it in as many different ways as I feel I can. And then yes, talk to yourself for come on. Yeah, participating either will also land you the Burned Town treasure map, so like the one I kinda claimed. From some point, like in the stream, there is apparently a Burned Town treasure map you can obtain just simply participating in either of those. You don't even have to like win them at all or anything, of course. It seems. Yeah, treasure maps are absolutely good. They can get you like $100-ish, couple $100 in the game, basically. They can also get you like a gold bar to upwards to like 2 gold bars, I believe. And then I forget if there's even XP tied to it or not. But, like, even if not, then that stuff is really, really good, obviously. For being provided a treasure map, absolutely. And kind of frontier in search of treasure to receive 3 times raw XP in exchange for discovering collectibles, huh? Okay. Didn't it say it was like 2 times raw XP though for sales though? Oh, but I mean, that sounds like it's just simply for finding collectibles. It seems there'll also be 3 times raw XP for that as well. Against raw XP though, not regular XP, so the usefulness of it of course depends on if you're even like if you're like not a rank 20 essentially for the role, which quite frankly with how little content the game's pretty much been getting the last few years and stuff, would have to think most people have that at that point. But if for some reason you do need the leveling up with role, then just simply even finding the collectibles gives you 3 times extra roll XP, and then if you can manage to get a whole collector set sale, like, or even a weekly one, I'm sure you could even squeeze in more. I'm presuming as well for that XP or whatever for roll XP being 2 times as well, whatever. No. Free roam missions 3 times money, gold, XP. Oh, is this the given image? It might be the orange like stranger missions. It's looking like on these ones. Beaver Widow, it's like the purple things going on for at least for those like purple free roam missions. Going on at least for the 2. What's it called? Yeah, for 2, like, goddamn, I'm tired and shit. Sorry and shit. God damn it, body, you're making me really tired, damn it. Damn it. They're gonna take a nap or some shit, and I guess kinda have to, I feel, unfortunately, plus, never get to really stream Red Dead for the most part, just mostly get to do these monthly things, like, meh. These are so long for GTA Online to be, but I've been tired of fucking GTA Online streams as well, because I keep doing them, like, the most crazy times and more available, but whatever, whatever. Probably gonna take a break with them now then. Not gonna pause the stream, just be aware. By the way. Jesus Christ, bro. Sorry for that shit. Just super tired and shit. God fucking damn it, though. Fucking hell. It's been every stream last couple few times now. I get tired as fuck and have to break for 15 minutes a single time, multiple times, or whatever. Up to an hour long or some shit, possibly more if I fall asleep. But yeah. Free roam missions every time, it's money, gold, XP. If I was saying something about like two things, I might have been thinking like the free roam missions from like day one, and then also like the free roam mission with the blood money things or something. I might have been thinking that or something if I was remembering if I said something like that. Could have been something to do with that, but yeah, I assume it's the basic day one free roam missions if it's showing like City Adler and stuff. City Adler is not a blood money contact, I'm definitely certain there. Oh yeah, lending hand to strangers, familiar faces on travel zone. Yeah, free roam missions. And you'll be paid out stripper rewards. Okay, yes, yes. But money, gold, XP. Okay, all for your free times. Yeah, you do actually get gold from that, gold nuggets and stuff. So this is definitely a gold method that you can do. There is also, by the way, gold for like showdown modes too. It just didn't seem like it was 4 times gold, unfortunately for that. But you can get 3 times gold for this at least. So that's cool. Which is probably arguably a better gold method since you could do since yes you can do it directly in free mode and it's not dependent like a competitive game mode, of course, like it would be for free roam events or not free roam events, but the featured series, of course, for my title. After all. Um, wait, what else? If anything, really. But yeah, nice that there was a gold method. But I have to imagine this would be better for gold and like even 4 times or something on competitive game modes. That like if another player were to do better, you wouldn't get as much gold out of that in that circumstance, anyways. And then the money and XP obviously are probably not really on a candle. And then yes, the money and XP definitely are not going to hold a candle, I'm sure, to the collector sets. Definitely not. Definitely not. While it's 3 times, of course, the amounts are generally much less, of course. But I would definitely say it's pretty alright stuff for all 3 metrics there, for the money, gold, XP, for sure. And yeah, not to forget, in the Blood Money update onward, they made it where, like, you can even choose your free roam mission. You used to just get a random one, I think, for the longest time until that Blood Money DLC came out. And I say used to for the longest time back when the game actually got content, of course, for the most part. So you can actually choose missions, which is cool. Which is cool. Alright, then challenges. Okay. Earn collector role rewards, apparently. Okay. Round 1 players ranked 25 and higher will receive the Nozalita shirt and neckerchief return from Outlaw Pass 1. Okay. So for those that missed out on Outlaw Pass 1, yeah, there's a Nozalita shirt and neckerchief apparently returning for any player at rank 25 or higher. It looks like it'll just be a reward just for being around that amount. I assume, of course, veteran players will be thrown in there, especially in people who actually actively reach rank 25 stuff, obviously, in the like event month, obviously. And collectors who complete all their daily challenges will receive the formal dance, stunts, whatever email from Outlaw Pass 3. Says collector and daily challenges. I don't know if that's talking about the actual like collector, like the actual collector like challenges, or if it's talking about like your regular challenges. Kind of said daily challenges, which the regular terminology of daily challenges could mean the certain type, of course. Hold press for satchel, or no, not that. Shit, I'm literally doing every menu by mistake. Goddamn. Yeah, hold right. I mean, fire, hold. Yes. Oh wait, no, I did want this menu actually. Right, my bad. Oh, sorry, it was daily challenges, so I want this menu. Yeah, when it says complete your daily challenges, I mean your general 7, or just the roll ones, though. I didn't really use the word roll challenges, though, or clocked or whatever. But yeah, for this, it's 0 out of 5 bird eggs found. Again, those are all above ground collectibles. I kind of already said that, I think, so that's easy. 0 out of 2 collectibles found with a metal detector, it's easy. You don't even have to use that fishing rock collector map. You can easily just find those, of course, like anywhere. And 0 out of 3 tarot cards found again easy like bird eggs, since they are actually above ground and therefore they have guaranteed spawns. Autos are actually really easy for this day, for like Monday, whatever. If somehow like the challenges are the same for everybody or anything. Which daily I think are, but I'm not sure about roll ones if they are. But at least free like these are definitely pretty good. Ones to have for sure, for sure. But as soon as it says collectors completing all their daily challenges, it would be the free roll challenges for the actual collector roll. I would have to imagine. It wouldn't really make the most sense to me, like, how they would tie, like, the generic, like, the more general daily challenges where you have, like, fucking, well, whatever. Whatever. I'm kind of tired of this whole again, apparently. I'd have to imagine it's just a free and the collector, not the general 7 of them, surely. Surely. Otherwise, why would I mention the word collector, like, at the beginning of that paragraph? Like, a little tiny paragraph, basically. Check the news wire, see if it clarifies a bit better there. Somehow. Yeah, it doesn't really clarify any better, it looks like there. Apparently no. And then there is weekly rewards. Check back each week. Just one of a couple, like, fewish things that change, like, each week, but yeah, it's not enough to warrant streaming each week for event month, obviously. Like, for example, right now, for week 1, it looks like collect free collectibles for September 8th. I'll get you the Blue Prito poncho. Apparently. And then week 2, apparently, September 9th, September. Yeah, week 2, apparently, September 9th, September 15th, will be collect a fossil to get the black and gray Leicester hat, yes. Alright, there might be actually more clarity, by the way, on the left for week 3, kind of. And that is September 16th to September 22nd, basically. Talking about the right, but could also go into the left as well. And that is complete all your collector daily challenges 2 days in a row to get the blue and orange Benbow jacket. So it's like the first 3 weeks of that are all just clothing items. It's okay, not really the biggest stuff to go for if you're not big on clothing stuff, really, and collecting all of it, whatever. But I said collector, it did say collector daily challenges there. However, there's a little more space and stuff there. It says collectors complete all their daily challenges. But I assume if it does that there in the Action News Wire for like week 3, that it would be the case for I assume that would be the same case. There's a similar case anyways for the week 1, basically. Basically. Yeah, there's more spacing again, yeah, involving like the wording of it on the left, but the wording's somewhat kind of similar all for sure though, so like perhaps something on the left you can do at the same time as like week 3 or like week 4, whatever for the event month basically. Yeah, if it's like that for one of them, I'm sure the other one's like that as well, is what I'm basically saying, by the way, with my tired ass. Alright, so that, again, week 3, September 16th, September 22nd, after all that talk, though, complete all your collector daily challenges 2 days in a row. Gets you that blue and orange bimbo jacket. Week 4 for week 4, yes, for September 23rd, September 29th. Apparently is complete any free roam event to get the coins collector map. So completing any of the free roam events, those purple things I believe, and not the mission ones I was talking about earlier, I think like right before this or whatever, I think. Well, yes. Yeah, completing any of the purple free roam events, possibly even the non-salvage, non-condor egg, the ones that aren't tied to roll, I think it seems counts as well. We'll get you to, yes, get you to coins collector map. And then, last but not least, September 30th to October 6th. Rank up 5 times or reach rank. Oh, my tongue twisted is broken. Come on. Yeah, again, week 5, September 30th, like last week, week 5, September 30th, October 6th. Rank up 5 times or reach level 20 as a collector apparently gets you the 10 Griff caps. Alright, so easily week 4 is the most worthwhile one to get that collector map, I would say, over like some cosmetic thing you're probably not going to use, most likely. Alright, so yeah, rank up 5 times of actual rank, it seems, or reach level 20 as collector during the event month. Yeah, gain 5 actual ranks for your character for like a veteran player. It's kind of a slap in the face, I feel, honestly, but it's not the only time they've done that, I'm pretty sure, so sadly they clearly do not care, it seems. Say. See, a controller trying to fall in my hand is tired as fuck. What the shit, man. Yes. Looks like weeks 1, 2, 3, and 5 are all clothing stuff, by the way, and then week 4 is the one-off like event where it's the treasure map, where it's a treasure map, which is much more valuable than like clothing items, obviously. So Avos are pretty dud weeks spawning clothing if you're not big on that, but week 4 does, yes, get you a coins collector map. But even with the Gene Rock collector map, again, I was mentioning you don't necessarily even need that, but it's a nice in-game way of being able to do some of that anyways. So I would probably shoot for at least week 4 for September 23rd, 29th at least, for sure. For sure. Alright, so that finally finishes that all. I think I kind of went over it good enough, even if I was, even if I was still low, you know, some entire body, unfortunately. Alright, sorry, I think I'm gonna have to take a break again. I'm getting like way too tired once again, unfortunately. Maybe another 15-ish minutes at most again, of course. By the way, starting now. Yes. Oh, and again, I'm not pausing the stream with the PS5 pause stream feature, by the way, so just be aware I'm not actually there, but it will be the same thing for a while anyways, so just, of course, be aware. Fuck ass God, bro. Sorry about that shit. God damn it. Fell asleep hella fucking hard and shit, man. I wasn't like full asleep per se, I was just that fucking tired. Probably did, honestly, Well, 2 hours, Red Dead deserves 2 hours, honestly, for once, I feel. Yeah, that's probably what's been happening anyways, honestly, again. Whatever. Or whatever. It really sucks, bro. I don't know why the fuck I get to fall asleep so much and shit anymore. Whatever, though. Whatever, though. I know where it left off and shit. I'm so sorry for that shit. Fuck, bro. Not gonna lie, Red Dead fucking deserves better anyways, so I don't care. Turns out like how long I get to spend on it or something. Or whatever. Whatever. So I did get to go over all this, and yeah, I did. I remember. Collector discounts, 5 gold bars off collector's bag, and more. Yeah, collector's bag, that's how you even get the collector roll in the first place, so it normally costs 15 gold minus 5 for 10 gold. That's a 33.3% off discount. It's huge money making roll, like I said before, which makes it very good. Like Bounty Hunter is a very good gold roll. This one's a very good money roll, so it's obviously a very soft roll then in that case. So there's also 50% off of collector's maps. Yes. Looks like there is also, yes, 50% off of collector's maps. Which is, of course, the paid way to kind of do, like, the Gene Rock GEAN ROPK collector map, or whatever thing I was kind of mentioning earlier in the stream. It's kind of like the paid thing there for Rockstar official way of doing it. For, like, kind of cheat sheet of getting, like, collectibles easy, basically. But yeah, you might as well just save the money and just use the collector map thing I was mentioning, of course, anyways. So, like, honestly, that discount's kind of mad, not gonna lie. Pennington Field Shovel is 50% off. Or I assume it's 50% off. It's not showing like a discount down there, like a number before it. So yeah, the, the the Pennington Field Shovel is one tool you do need for the underground collectibles. Same actually goes with the metal detector. Those are both extremely useful for the underground collectibles. The arrowhead coins, arrowheads, coins, fossils. There's also like visible dig sites and stuff as well. For example, for the metal detector. Albeit those are pretty rare, but still you kind of need it for that as well, I'm pretty sure. In the case of the metal detector in particular. And then there is 30% off of collector roll outfits as well, apparently. Apparently. Which is basically a bunch of cosmetic-y discounts for 30% off. Which yes, is basically a bunch of cosmetic-y discounts for 30% off, yes. And yes, this month's community outfit. Yeah, free to claim outfit through October 6th, and month, of course. You get more details usually on those, yeah, with the rocks news wires. Also look at that and stuff, of course. I see a community inspired outfit. It was apparently assembled by r/Red Dead Fashion over on Reddit, basically the subreddit. Contributor legitimate underscore tie underscore 6,620. So that's the credits to the outfit, which they never really, most times, never really put on there. They do on occasion though, but still. No, not hold right, hold left the sun. I went there actually thinking for daily challenges, and yeah. There hasn't really necessarily been used to go over the satchel yet per se. I think there will be later. Alright, so go into clothing, hats, apparently. Looks like they're to stock the gator hats, looking like it's returning for the month, basically, of September, the first few days, like several days of October as well. Apparently there. Yeah, it does look to be the stalker hat. That's on a sale. It looks like it's just a small, like, monetary hat, kind of. This is not that much savings on that one, unfortunately. But of the 8 variants, it is. variant number 7, that black one, apparently, or pure black one. Next one depends on gender of character, and it's for jacket / coat for the coat section. Looks like. First of all, it looks like the Eberhardt coat is returning to limited stock, and it's 8 gold clothing item. It looks like possible multiple variants or something for all I know. I'm not gonna bother click on it per se, but yeah. That seems like a very, crazy limited stock one there then. For the month of September, pretty much, and of course, use several days of October as well, as I obviously said before. But yeah, for male characters, it is looking like the roller jacket, which is only like 30-ish bucks. It seems to be a bit more than I have, but you're not really saving that much. It looks like of the 10 variants, it is variant number 6 apparently, another kind of pure blackish looking one or something. But I was curious, the female variant of the clothing item is the loose patch coat apparently. Again, it is at least a patch coat if you are a female character instead, for some sort of variant. Into vests next. For the vests next, yes. Looks like you have the Cardozo vest as a returning into stock clothing item for 4 gold bars. I have the gold of the Everheart coat, looks like. Never kind of seen with the stock clothing item. Never kind of seen with the stock clothing item, basically. For 4 gold is like 100 bucks, and then 8 gold I think it's like 200 bucks by the way for the gold to cash conversions. So yeah, they are pretty penny basically, or something. Looks like 55 bucks. Not the greatest savings again, but whatever variant here it is. It is 29. It's like maybe number 8 if it's like the other ones. Yeah, the pure blackish one again, it looks like. And then it looks like shirts is the next one, and this will be the last of the 2 of them that vary depending on the gender of character. Looks like no limited stock options for this section of clothing this time around. But it looks like for male characters it is the collar overshirt for $16 basically in savings, and then for female characters the alternative will be the dolly shirt waist. Again, female characters, dolly shirt waist is the alternative apparently. $1 some pure black variant once more. It's variant number apparently 7. Okay, it's like a black polka dotish one, so it is actually one with a pattern as well. Not just straight up pure black, it seems. Cool. Last but not least, for pants and boots, finish off apparently. Not looking like any crazy exclusive pants for the limited stock clothing or anything. But it's the cuff town pants, it looks like, for the clothing item thing, $22-ish. Variant number, probably 6, I'm guessing. Yes. And then, last but not least, for boots, apparently. It's like for limited stock, it looks like there's the darn stockings. Usually it's 2 gold, but apparently it's even on a discount because there's such a no boots discount. It's looking like of a single gold bar, so 50-ish bucks to 25-ish bucks basically. For gold cash conversion, which is nothing, of course. Oh, and also apparently another one's stock for boots section apparently is a soldier shoes. Go from like hundreds of dollars to like 82-ish bucks. Okay. Well, I think at minimum it would be 30% off, of course. By the way. Osaka is the workman's boots. Yes, it is, apparently. And apparently that is, yes, regardless the character, by the way, 14 bucks to, yeah, nothing, obviously, Quite frankly, were any of these in gold bars, this might be one of the cheaper outfits that they would have probably ever done in terms of, like, savings. I'm not all that sure, but savings were kind of pretty cheap. It could be a second variant, if not, maybe a good bit down. Could see it being second or fourth. Okay, this is the second variant, okay. Apparently. Alright, so that was all the clothing for the community-inspired outfit, apparently. And yeah, that's a lot of stuff went through those guides for anything on the Roxy Newswire. That's not really on the like benefits section or whatever per se. Alright, it looks like only a couple sections that wouldn't have been covered entirely, which is basically doing to stock, returning into town clothing, gator hat, hard coat, Taraka coat as well, apparently. There was 2 coats, apparently, for that, okay. Let's see on that. I missed a coat somehow then? Unless it's female only or something, then that might explain it. Yeah, I think they always put the limited stock like at the beginning of the section now. No. So it's either a female exclusive or it's like somewhere else in the catalog for some reason, but I swear they always put them at the beginning of the section, so yeah, I'm willing to believe it's just a female exclusive for the Taronka coat. Yeah, one of her Salta shoes, Cardozo vest, darn stockings, I'm pretty sure. Alright, so I think that leaves just one more for cats, apparently. Which is an accessory, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure. Yes. Shaffer caps, whatever, $59.50. Apparently starting. It was like, okay. So I'm pretty sure one over finally all those. Apparently. So yeah, for discounts, already I've talked about the Wave Fast Travel, Collector's Bag being 5 gold bars off, 50% off Collector's Maps, 50% off the melt. It is indeed 50%. Tongue twister, that's work on my console. I mean, it is indeed, though, in fact, 50% off for the metal detector, 50% off for the paint field shovel as well, yes, indeed, as expected, 30% off the clicker roll outfits, yes. From there, it looks like there are going to be, like, ones that have yet to cover, though, basically. Kind of looks like 7-ish, maybe 8 at, like, most for discounts, not yet covered, basically. Basically. So there is a couple of pamphlets it's looking like here this time on a discount. Finally used for the satchel. Actually, when I was confused with like the daily challenges or something, it took a while probably because I fell asleep to realize that. Maybe recipe pamphlets, as yes, some ammo ones are in there. It looks like. That's what it looks like. But yeah, apparently the explosive slug pamphlet as well as the incendiary buckshot pamphlet, both of those apparently, in particular for some reason. Those are both 30% off discounts. Again, I was kind of mentioning the thing with explosive ammo, you can actually interrupt like a person getting like a condor egg, for example. They, quite frankly, the shotgun explosive might be one of the worst ones to use, since it's got obviously shorter range, I'm sure, than other explosive bullets. So it is an interesting application. Use it for something like that to interrupt somebody from getting a condor egg, I guess, for this particular event. Either way, explosive bullets are obviously really powerful, obviously, so that could be very good. Incendiary buckshot. Quite frankly, I don't know if you'll ever get true use out of something like that, but if you really just care to collect out the pamphlets in a game like myself, then it is quite frankly something that could be worth going for. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. 2 pamphlets on sale. For some special ammos, you can only get through that kind of method of getting the pamphlets and actually crafting the bullets yourself. Pretty sure you have to do it that way, obviously. Online in particular, at least, is though quite frankly, I think single player the crap like crazy good ammos as well. So it makes sense pretty much. Yeah, those you obviously found at the fence, I'm pretty sure, by the way, but catalog again, it looks like here, to go over another theme, basically. Under clothing for emotes, apparently. Looks like all emotes will be on some kind of 30% off discount, yeah. Not some kind of, but yeah, 30% off discount. Every single emote will basically 30% off for each category. As long as it's paid emote or whatever. Yeah, emotes can go some emotes yes can go for some very ludicrously expensive amounts, so 30% off on those if you're for new ones, which is honestly pretty nice. Albeit, I wouldn't really recommend going for any of them, like normally, even quite frankly. Let alone even possibly on discount. Probably just give that discount outright myself. Even. You do have some in gold bars, so they should also be on the 30% off as well, of course. It's definitely in time to clean up some inventory there if you care for those all that much for some reason. Me, of course, personally, like I said, I fucking do not give a fuck for those. But yeah, I think they should have been all free. Like G-Town had them, but whatever. Whatever. Alright, next for the weapon wheel, I think. Triangle ability loadout. Yeah, 30% off ability cards and ability card upgrades. I might walk through all of them as well, like I kind of tend to do. Maybe explain something that can be good. Alright, a moment to recuperate again. Keep in mind the actual ability cards themselves. For buying them is actually kind of like fine, maybe. And especially the ability card upgrades, I'm mostly going over them for that, so you actually know what to invest trying to get ability card XP for. The moment to recuperate one while Deadeye is active, you slowly regenerate health, taking any damage will cancel with Deadeye. I think the taking damage part of canceling Deadeye is kind of a huge downside, quite frankly. Regenerating health is definitely nice, though. Although, it's kind of different like, levels and stuff, kind of dig briefly go through that. Alright, focus fire. While Deadeye is active, you and your team members deal a little more damage if more than one member of your team has the ability active. Effects do not stack, which I think is kind of a huge downside. And this is really a team player one. I don't really think it's usually one that I would recommend that much. Depends on your situations and whatnot. Like, maybe it could be a good one for the gun rush teams coming up, for example. But besides for that, I don't know if the uses would be all that worthwhile. Alright, painted black free. Might be my main one here. It's kind of looking like. When Deadeye is active, paint targets on enemies. Fire your weapon to shoot all marked targets. Each shot drains a very small amount of Deadeye. You cannot mark or be marked while in a defensive playing style. Okay. It's basically the single player targeting, kind of like Deadeye that you have to have in single player without like all the variation that online has, I believe. So yeah, the single player Deadeye is one that most people will probably be familiar with. That's played single player one, so that's easily why I would recommend going for that, basically. And then you have slow and steady. With Deadeye is active, you take a little less damage, and headshots do not kill you outright. Taking damage will drain Deadeye, and you cannot run or sprint. Is it really worth it for headshots being prevented and then all the crazy downsides of not being able to run or sprint? I don't necessarily really think so, to be honest. Kind of like a meme one to me, I feel really. And yeah, I know I'm going for that quick, but I don't want to spend too much time, especially because I've been falling asleep. Obviously. And then, quite an inspiration. While Deadeye is active, you and your allies still regenerate health if more than one member of your team is really active, affects the unit stack. Kind of a huge downside, of course. So something to coordinate with your team with, I suppose. Again, with the other one, it's kind of like that. It is a health-related one, like this one. It's just meant more for a group than like solo play, so therefore taking damage is not cancelled Deadeye. Apparently, like the first one does, at least. Again, mostly maybe useful for something like the Team Gun Rush, but besides for that, kind of meh to me. And it's still a pretty bastard, apparently. It's another kind of good one, it seems, since I do have it after all. Then, I have this one, I didn't really recommend that one, but still, I think this one I do. The Slippery Bastard, though, while Deadeye is active, enemies are significantly less accurate when shooting at you, and your accuracy is significantly reduced. Of course, huge downside there again, but accuracy, like reduction on enemies, like AIs, can actually be pretty good for player versus enemy content, I'm pretty sure, especially. The rate at which your Deadeye drains is dramatically increased as well. But yeah, definitely a very good one for a pickle of a situation. Honestly, for the most part, I feel the one with the most advantage is easily the single player Deadeye. It doesn't have much of a downside and stuff. It's the most basic Deadeye, and therefore a very good one. Otherwise, yeah, I think Slippery Bastard might be one of the better ones, quite frankly. Yeah, did I do that with this one? I kind of forget, actually. On to first passive, whatever. Yeah, I'll go over all the combat ones first, I guess. Starting with Gunslinger's Choice. While dual wielding with ranged weapons, you do a little more damage and are a little more accurate. Dual wielding. More damage on dual wield could actually be kind of maybe decent for close range, especially. Maybe even kind of mid range. Accuracy increase can of course be that bit helpful as well, but it's also mostly for that very good close range damage. I would want something like that. Quite frankly, I feel the dual wield system is kind of mostly pretty clunky in a way, kind of, to be honest, when it comes to like actual combat though. I feel it's mostly just a gimmick more than anything, and I don't really find myself like finding it to be the most useful thing. Maybe if like automatic Mauser pistols, this could be absolutely insane, but yeah. I don't know if this one necessarily gets the most use for like a combat situation unless you're like doing a lot of close range combat, which if you're mostly focused on player versus enemy, I feel it's more better to have like mid to long range support rather than close range support, honestly. Quite frankly though, if you're doing it more for solo play rather than like a player versus like player situation or something. Sounds like it could be kind of a fun one to play in situation though. And horsemen apparently deal a little more damage while on horseback. Yeah, I think I did that already, but just in case. If you're on horseback a lot, sure, but oftentimes you're going to be on foot instead, so I don't see the most use for that. Sharpshooter. While using a scope, you deal a little more damage and take a little less damage. Now, this isn't necessarily specifically locked to just like sniper rifles. Keep in mind when you think scope, you might mostly think of a sniper rifle for like for like the rolling block or the Carcano, which obviously yes are kind of the main options for us. Like a scope, since you have to use the scope. I think you can't like not use the scope as far as I'm aware. However, though, there's weapons like the Evans repeater and stuff that do have like scopes on them for like attachments they can add. Sure, it works for those, of course. You deal a little more damage, take a little less. I don't know if scope mode will be something you absolutely want to stay in though. It depends on if you would use like Rollback or Kino that often, I feel mostly, quite frankly. Since a lot of the other ones you just toggle like on and off, and most likely you're going to want to use it a decent amount of time without scope, like zoom in. I'm presuming, at least. And then necessity breeds, apparently, after that. Is as you get closer to death, you start to do a little more damage. Very risk reward one. I don't know if, like, honestly, like, being close to death is worth warranting, like, the extra bit of, like, damage. Like, is that really practical? I really don't necessarily know if that would be all that practical, quite frankly. Quite frankly. I feel I'd rather have something that's more generally good and something that's only good if I'm near death, since that will be a lot of like off time where it's just not going to be active whatsoever. Basically. And on to Landon's patience. Apparently, this one is waiting for up to 15 seconds between shots, slightly increases your damage. That's basically anti-DPS, like damage per second. Like, even if you're not like a huge like, competitive player, you're gonna want damage per second. Obviously, you don't want to like not be shooting for like 15 seconds. I would say, and it stays 15 seconds too on the upgrades. Jeesh, just the like damage portion increases. Yeah, you're gonna be. You are probably gonna need like way too much patience. Probably gotta be one of the worst ability cards, if not even like the worst one in the whole game. Then I'm guessing. But it is a reference to Landon or whatever, like that one character, whatever, in Red Dead Redemption 1, of course. And yes, I know Red Dead Revolver exists, but just speaking strictly of Red Dead Redemption 1, between 1 and 2, basically, and like DLC is from as well, basically. Yeah. The reference is definitely pretty cool, though. Kind of the only thing going for it, I guess. Alright, then it's on to the short game, where you deal a little more damage to targets closer to you, but less damage to targets farther away. I don't think you're really gonna want to like nerf yourself though from like far though. Definitely not. Keeping enemies further away, obviously, generally will be better off, since that means you won't really be able to get shot much yourself. Incentivizing and getting more up close personal could work for like the wield benefit. Could work maybe good with Gunslinger's Choice, for example, but yeah. Don't really think building purely for close range is the way to go. Quite frankly though, quite frankly though. Again, like I mentioned, some long arms do have like scope attachments to them. Like, why would he want to nerf like any sort of like mid or long range capabilities for just close range? Just doesn't make sense to me. And onto Hangman apparently. Lasso chokes your enemies, doing a little damage to them for every second they're lassoed. I'm not really going to recommend this one probably at all, especially since Bounty Hunter eventually came out later on after the fact. Like, sure, for day one it was probably pretty fun, of course, but eventually with Bounty Hunter would just not, like, do damage to your bounty, like, targets and stuff. I'd worry a good bit about that, just in case. Could be, like, a double-edged sword right there, whatever. Whatever. And yeah, the last two obviously is like only like what close mid range, not even covering like long range and like it's like some two-handed thing or whatever. It's not as convenient. It's not very much not as convenient to use it, of course. Surely. You're right, not convenient as convenient to use something like that. Surely, or something, whatever. I was doing the entire body and stuff. So. Then last but not least is winning streak 3, which is probably, of course, since it's checked and stuff, as soon as one I think high, the most highest though, maybe. Yeah, each consecutive shot on the same target does much more damage than the last. Damage bonus, damage bonus ends, yes, if the target is not shot for 10 seconds. Okay. So does that mean you need to concentrate all fire on like one enemy and stuff? I'm not really all that sure. At least for sure, like, whatever, like. But yeah. You might be able to shoot different targets and the bonus still applies to like one particular target. I'm not 100% actually, I'll be honest. Even though I've had opportunities for like call arms and stuff to figure something like that out, I assume it's whatever makes it sound like basically where you can just shoot the same like one target you shoot like how many times and just go down. Even if you like, kind of have another enemy involved at the same time or something. As long as they're like somewhat maintaining it, should be no problem. I'm sure. But yeah, it's easy. Obviously, shoot the like same target again and again. It's kind of opposite of the Landon's patience. So this one's obviously really bad, and then obviously the opposite one is like pretty much the best one in the game for combat. I would say. Ironically. And then onto the recovery abilities next. Apparently, come back stronger here. Your health regenerates faster, and your health begins regenerating a little sooner after you take damage. Yeah, regenerating health quicker is definitely a huge difference between like life or death situations. It can be definitely. Yeah, I think it is something that can be super good for keeping alive in like a pinch of a situation. But really though, I feel the standard rates are pretty fine. If not, then most likely you could probably just use consumables anyways for something like that. Aside for like a hardcore like featured series, of course. But even then, it would just prevent your ability cards outright on those anyways. So like, I'm not really sure I'd recommend it. So we're just simply using like consumables if you're even slightly willing to do that. If you are even slightly willing to do that, like me basically, where I prefer a more simplified combat with no like consumable mechanic or something. And then Iron Lung. Apparently your stamina regenerates faster, and you take slightly less damage depending on your current stamina level. Yes, like I said on this one. But yeah, regenerates faster but for stamina, and then you take slightly less damage depending on your current stamina level. So like, let's say you run around like the whole time or something where stamina's like almost runs dry. Does that mean like you have extra ammo or something? Does that mean you have like extra? Oh my god, tired body, come on. Do this shit, please. Like, does the wording suggest that if you have like no stamina, would you actually take more damage in that case, or like what? I'm really not sure, honestly. Kind of depends on that. I feel quite frankly. Really, I just do not see this being the greatest per se. As I say, because there could be that possible downside. It's not going to be the most. And then kicking the butt. Apparently, whenever you take damage, small proportion of it is added to your Deadeye. What you actually use Deadeye basically much. Oh no, let's see. Can't really necessarily tell like where kind of the bud. Sorry, body. Yes, I still can't exactly like tell like with kicking the butt honestly. But yeah, you get portion of damage added to your Deadeye, which makes it a lot more convenient to use. If you are huge on Deadeye and you want to take more advantage of the Deadeye ability cards, then absolutely this one could maybe be one of your better options in a sense. But quite frankly, can you literally just get Deadeye from like headshots, especially if you can manage headshots somehow, then I honestly would find it pretty easy to take advantage of or something. Oh. It makes Deadeye a lot more efficient to use, so can be something worth it depending on like what you're looking for. And on to Live for the Fight, apparently. Alright, hold on. Yeah, now, on to Live for the Fight. You regenerate Deadeye very slowly over time. Okay, there's a timed, like, regeneration, but it always stays slow, it looks like. Okay. Honestly, I'd rather have one focused on just getting it back at all, I feel like, without downside per se, having to take damage and it not being used as much, therefore, something for this one. I feel that feel to know taking damage would be better because it would kind of always be active, whereas the other one would only be active in those very certain situations where you actually take damage. Which, yes, could happen kind of frequent, but I feel like it's more frequent not to have that, basically. Basically. And then onto Ride Like the Wind. Apparently this one's, whenever you take or deal damage while mounted, small portion of it is added to your horse's health and stamina. Meh, nah, I think this one's a hella pass, quite frankly. Like, makes using a horse more efficient, especially in, like, in the horse racing, though, doesn't, like, I mean, yeah, man. In the horse racing, can you literally, like, shoot other players and stuff? It could have that niche application, I suppose, but for, like, winning races easier, but I really don't think this is really good at all for, like, combat in general. Definitely not, though, since most times, again, like I kind of mentioned, you will actually not be on horseback most times. Most definitely not. I'm thinking. Quite frankly. I got mentioned pretty much everything there, though. Alright, and then the one I'm pretty much using right now, also probably the one I think is the best, basically, is P Condition 3, or actually I have it all the way up. Which is apparently sprinting uses less stamina. And then, aside for that, you apparently deal much more damage depending on your current stamina level. So you basically get more stamina, basically, and sprinting uses less of it, and then if you're not moving around a lot, which, yeah, in player versus player combat, you might actually be moving around a lot, but if you can actually somewhat manage it, then it should be easy to get maximum damage in a sense, basically. Basically. And honestly, especially in player versus enemy, which is what I like to go for, I don't feel like you have to move too much usually. Unless like one of those really super annoying like AI missions. Absolutely, I think. So definitely some good application for why would you choose this as a solo, as like a solo one wolf kind of player for the most part, basically. It's not hard to like not use stamina much depending on your situation, yeah. Sprinting, like doing less stamina course is definitely good to go into that. Whatever. Alright, and eye for an eye, apparently. Killing an enemy with a headshot restores a little deadeye. Don't you already kind of get like a bonus for headshots though, so it's kind of just like extra on top of the usual, basically. Or something. But again, it's another pretty efficient one for like deadeye. The headshots, you get them easier with deadeye, so it's kind of counterintuitive in a sense, I feel. And therefore I would rather have maybe one of the other two instead. Feel quite frankly, because feel this would be kind of a rare one. I do feel this would kind of be one of the rare ones, basically, to be happening, basically. Alright, but yeah, I think I mentioned everything on that one. I don't know when this ties. Sorry. The gift of focus, apparently, are next. Items and abilities which restore Deadeye have their effects slightly improved. But yeah, combining some of the other ones, with that seems like it could be absolutely good if you run the gift of focus, apparently. And yeah, items would be like consumables, of course, which yeah, all depends on like if you actually use them or not. If you have to go hell out the way to use consumables, and it's kind of like a pro thing to use, basically, like knowing which ones to use at like what times and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't really feel this one's the greatest unless you're combining like other Deadeye focus screen ones with it. Would probably be like the only real case this could go well. If you want to have an absolute Deadeye focus build to actually get good use out of it, basically. But whatever. Okay then. Then. Strange medicine, apparently. You regain a little health whenever you inflict damage. Health otherwise regenerates at half the normal rate. I really don't think like it's worth having your health otherwise regenerate at half the normal rate. Because that might be making you wait a lot longer to get the full health again. That's the actual amount like you regenerate and not like when it regenerates, I'm guessing. Like general, right? Either way, you're kind of taking a huge hit there, I would say. I would say. So I don't really think inflicting damage for health is worth the huge trade-off there, honestly. I just really don't. And then, last but not least, cold-blooded for recovery abilities, apparently. After killing an enemy, you will regain a little health over the next 3 seconds. Yeah, so I have to actually kill enemies, which honestly for AI enemies, I don't feel we have to spend that much effort to kill AI enemies in particular, compared to like another player in a player situation. Honestly. Yeah, this actually can be a pretty good like healing option, especially in like something like a survival, like the Call to Arms or something, for example. Maybe. With how many enemies are in, obviously, the Call to Arms being a survival game mode, obviously that could be some pretty essential to run for something like that. Absolutely. But I definitely do see some value out of that one, definitely. Definitely. No. Last but not least, for the last 9, they are all defense abilities from there. First one for defense abilities is Fool me once, apparently. You take a little less damage each consecutive time you're shot. Back ends if you're not shot for 10 seconds. In a player versus player game mode, depending on how you play, you could very much not get shot for 10 seconds, I'm pretty sure. And is that just for like one particular player, or is that for like the whole lobby though, depending on that? Determines how useful something like that available could be. Isn't it like the defensive mode or something, kind of something where you take like reduced damage or something anyways already? But yeah, and it's more in free mode to be fair, not like competitive game modes and all that technically for whatever, all the whatever. Honestly, I don't necessarily feel like that's the most worthwhile, really, though. Like, really, in close range situations, it's probably gonna be best, not like mid or long range, of course, where more likely to not get hit, of course, and lose 10 seconds. That's kind of only other thing I can think of adding there, maybe. Alright, second one here is Friends for Life 1, apparently. Or like Friends for Life, I mean, altogether, I mean. While mounted, you and your horse take a little less damage. This all relies on you being mounted constantly, though, which again, same point. Most times you're not even going to be mounted, you're more so going to be on foot most times, I find. So I really don't think that's that worth it. I really just do not think it's worth it. I feel the standard rates of damage while mounted is fine, quite frankly. On average, of course. And then you have strength in numbers, apparently. Yeah, strength in numbers, though. You take a little less damage for every nearby ally, up to a maximum of 3 allies. This one doesn't say the thing about how like it wouldn't be able to like stack as well, which is interesting. Interesting. Yeah, this one's definitely a pretty good one for like something like a gun rush teams again, like a team mode or something, obviously. But like someone like me, of course, who must play solo, not with other players. Yeah, that's how it's going to be super limited in terms of utility. So personally, I'm just not going to recommend it the most. But I do see the value, of course, depending on the situation. And then the main one I'm going to be using is Hunker Down Free, apparently, where you take much less damage while in cover. Again, it's more for player versus enemy content, like a Call to Arms or something. It's especially going to be something like very useful for something like Call to Arms, especially, I think, for sure. And again, other player versus enemy content could even be helpful for player versus player content, of course, being like what's going on and whatnot, like if it's worth the cover in those very specific situations. So cool. I guess. Yeah, this one definitely does have some very good application, especially for something like a Call to Arms or something, I think, for sure. And to fight another day, apparently, is you take a little less damage from bullets while sprinting. I only have this one for some reason, like, developed and stuff. Maybe if I was kind of good back then, but yeah. Again, while sprinting, you'll want to move around a lot when it comes to player versus player combat, I feel, but not really player versus enemies, so it depends on if you mostly do player versus player or player versus enemy, I feel, if you would even want something like that. I feel, quite frankly. Yeah, for player versus enemy, you really don't, like, need to sprint, I feel, that often, depending on, like, what it is, which most things wouldn't be that certain circumstance. In the case of player versus enemy, absolutely not, I think, so. Yeah, I probably actually wouldn't recommend this one too much, even though I have it, like, with white for some reason underneath. And last one for the top row for defense abilities here is the Unblinking Eye, apparently here, which is your Deadeye and Eagle Eye terrain a little slower. Basically making your Deadeye and Eagle Eye longer. Eagle Eye, I think the default duration for sure on Eagle Eye is completely fine, honestly. I don't really think you need to extend Eagle Eye. So half of that's already not even all that useful, I feel. And then Deadeye. Deadeye is a much more limited, like, resource for, like, your cores and stuff compared to health and stamina and stuff, so you want to save it. Deadeye actually would be pretty good. Maybe it will actually save, like, Saber Deadeye would actually be maybe something pretty cool. Or good, or whatever, dude, whatever. Awesome. And then, yeah, depends for sure on how much you want to use your Deadeye or not, for sure, if I would run it or not. But yeah, take the pain away, apparently, here is whenever you revive someone, you both take a little less damage for the next 8 seconds. This is really a team-oriented one, it seems, for sure, for, like, player versus player, like a team gun rush, for example. Something like that. You might be able to revive and call to arms, so it could be useful for something like call to arms, definitely, but, like, would it really be one of the best, like, would it be like a top 3, top 5 thing to use for call to arms? I'm not really sure, quite frankly, there. Interesting, though. Interesting, though. But yeah, definitely not a very good solo one, that's why I personally would never run that node alone. And then of single purpose, apparently, is the penultimate one here, where you take a little less damage from bullets while unarmed or using a melee weapon. Bruh. What can you really do while unarmed or using a melee weapon? Like, bruh, like, for real? Does it count like throwable things like tomahawks or something where you actually get some range? I'm not really sure. Sounds like it might even just be close range melee weapons. Like, in what case is that really actually going to be that worth it? It has to be one of the worst ones on here. Like, you're clearly not trying to, like, do anything all that serious if you're running something like that, I'm pretty sure. Like, I don't think you can just become some, like, hella tank, like, trying to kill people with, like, a machete or something instead of, like, your main combat arsenal, but who really knows, I guess, really? I guess, really. Yeah, I really don't see any actual practical use much of that, honestly. I mean, last but not least, for fun with all these ability cards in the game, apparently. You have never with you. You yes have never without one, where your hat will block one headshot and then fall off while not wearing a hat. You take more damage, though. Yeah, having to micromanage your hat, honestly, and take more damage if not doing so is a huge downside. Definitely, though. Blocking a headshot with a hat can be actually kind of useful, though. There was another one about like blocking a headshot, though, wasn't there? Let me kind of go back to that, maybe. Kind of forget where that would have been. Might have been that actually, maybe. Yeah, something about like, yeah, headshots not kill you outright. That's about, that's like not being able to run in a sprint though. I think between that and the other one, I think definitely the blue thing here for sure is definitely the one to go between those. Where have a block headshot and then fall off while not wearing it, take more damage. If you have a situation, I suppose, where your horse is like close to you, because I think you can use the horse to change back to your like outfit that would have a hat or something, even if you can't like actually physically collect like a hat in your character again or something. Sorry, man, this tired ass body, man. What was I saying again? But if you're in a combat situation where somehow you can be like close to your horse like crazy or something, think. Because I think the horse will let you like reapply your outfit even if you like lose your hat, and like collecting your hat in the middle of combat would just not be too ideal, honestly, and all. Anyways, in that kind of niche, in that kind of super niche circumstance, I feel would actually be pretty useful. But really, not all that good. I feel. Yeah, much less damage and cover. I feel is one of the ones that has like the least downsides possible. Definitely. I feel in a sense, and in a sense, of course. While wearing a hat, you take less damage as well. Maybe it seems. I don't know. There might be added perk on tier 2, tier 3 on that one for some reason. Cannot tell what I'm just tired right now, unfortunately. So sorry. Yes. I think this is definitely one of the better defense ones along with that, though. I think kinda, if I recall right. If you can manage it correctly, of course. That is. Because headshot's not quite the easiest thing, of course, like, especially from far, of course. Yeah, it was funny, all those explained and stuff. Kind of. Sorry it took so long, but again, I'm tired and, like, cannot speak the greatest about, like, my mind going elsewhere and stuff because of being tired or something. Alright, looks like there's horse discounts next year. one, I think it would be pretty apparent. It seems like it's tied to the hella roll that's like being focused on, of course, basically. So sure, I guess I'll go over that first. So it was listed first if it's not the discount thing, so I do want to go over it first, I guess. Yes, they're Criollo horses, not surprised, of course. Looks like all of them are 30% off, so for your worst two, you have the Dun and Blue Roan overall, it looks like. Which those are 4 and 3 on stamina, it looks like for level 0 / level 1 bondage, which is basically the same. So a +3 would be a 7 and a 6. And speed acceleration not exactly the greatest, of course. Of course, not being the best version of it. Basically. And handling is apparently standard. Okay. And yes. The Sorrel overall and in the Bay Brindle. Yes. One more time though. The Sorrel overall and the Bay Brindle apparently. 5 and 4 apparently, so that would be 8 and 7. It looks like for those. Slightly better speed acceleration by 1, only 1 up a single time. Looks like okay. And finally, the Bay Frame overall and the Marble Spino. Looks like those end up with 6 and 5, so maxed out at 9 and 8, so not quite max cores, unfortunately. But speed and acceleration, speed especially pretty good. There's quite a few off of acceleration though, looks like scenery and overall, don't know, yes. Not one of the better roll horses, I feel, since you have like Norfolk Roadsters that I think have the best speed acceleration, and you also have certain roll horses that do max out on like the speed, like not speed, but the stamina and the health cores. Some roll horses will actually max out on those, I believe, in particular. At least one of them, anyways. Usually. Okay. It's definitely an alright-ish horse, I guess, for the best of those. Definitely. Look the distance, how you moving or something? Probably. Distance for percent of emote. This might be worth having a look around the workwear and trades for some other emotes you might not be seeing, of course, in the actual main emote section. So I think that lists the roll ones in. Makes sense, of course, and it says emotes in general, percent off, so I guess it includes roll ones too. Interesting. And a horse is intact, there's at least one in here as well. Basically. What the? Is there a horse there? That's another character's horse, or what? Yeah, it looks like Turkoman horses are also on discount. 925 was $647.50, $247.50. It looks like it could be some pretty good horses there for Turkomans, since they're pretty heavy cost apparently. Jeez, they get pretty expensive actually. But yeah, the cheapest ones kind of look like they have 5 and Is that 7? I mean, it's gotta be 7. It wouldn't start at 8. I don't think it's possible to start at 8 since... Yeah, it's not possible to start at 8 because, again, level 0, level 1 is the same, and it needs to go up like 3 times. It wouldn't make sense to start at 8. It would definitely be 7 on the health one, but yeah, 5 on stamina and 7 on health, yeah. Which means that level 4 bondage actually does max out on the health, which is good, and then speed acceleration is actually not all that bad, I would say, especially with the huge cost. I'm not surprised there. Standard handling, yeah, even the cheapest one is pretty good for that, at least for the health stat, of course, scores. Paying the extra $25 doesn't give you any benefit, it looks like. Okay. Like at default, for the default $25 set. Yeah, the extra 25 you would spend without a discount, yeah, it doesn't really give you better stats, so it's like, apparently. The gold one doesn't really give you any better stats, apparently. Well, that's $50 more default, so it doesn't give you better stats. Another gold one is a little more, doesn't give you better stats. Alright, so they all have the same stats, even the more expensive ones are basically tied with the least expensive, so... But yeah, they do all max out on the health, which is pretty good quality to have if you want your horse to survive a good bit. Seems to be a war horse, essentially, then. Seems to be a war horse, essentially, then. And then... For Turkmens... and according to Newswire, it's just a crow. It was named Turkmen horses. Yes. Alright, and for weapon discounts, it's looking like 2 classes of weapons this time. So, back over to catalog, of course, weapons. Starting with repeaters, apparently will be on discount. Evans repeater with the insane 26 ammo capacity, absolutely one I recommend. Carbine repeater, I think your character starts with a carbine repeater when they start the game for online, so I don't think that's a worry. Lancaster, if I remember right from playing single player, President liked Lancaster over Litchfield, if I recall right. Litchfield only gives you like extra 2 ammo, and then I think the reloading or something is like weird with it, or did you ever want to feel, if I remember right, but yeah. Repeaters, I feel the only like super bad one would probably be the default like carbine, which again I think your character literally starts with a carbine repeater already when you start online, I believe. Yeah, Evans repeater for sure is the top one, obviously with that huge 26 ammo capacity. So there is a couple ish like pretty nice repeaters. Pretty much all the ones you wouldn't have starting the game can be pretty nice options. Especially Evans repeater came out later on, of course. Shotguns is apparently also a class for 40% off. And yeah, if I didn't say they are 40% off, apparently for these 2 weapon classes. Yeah, rare shotgun, I think it's just like a cosmetic difference for the double barrel shotgun, so I think it's statistically the same pretty much, but yeah. Not really the greatest. It is a more expensive shotgun, maybe because of the like rare part of it and the livery, of course. And the livery, whatever, of course. But yeah, not a too important one to pick up there. Sawed-off shotguns, you can own 2 of them since they are dual wieldable. They are like sidearm shotguns. They're only like sidearm shotguns, I think, so you can dual wield them unlike the other ones. So definitely good utility for sawed-off shotguns. Double barrel shotgun, which is basically just a rare shotgun, but the traditional version of it. You should definitely go either one or the other there. Don't necessarily need both of them, of course, though. I don't think they have a stat difference or anything as far as I know. From what it looks like, they do both just have the same stats. Maybe there's a slight accuracy boost for some reason on the like rare shotgun, but whatever. Pump action, if I think I have mine for free since I have the Ultimate Edition of the game or something. I think gives me a free pump action shotgun. Pump action is not like a default one on the Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto 5 on is not like a pretty default shotgun though. It's really the first shotgun in your weapon wheel, and it's only really good as a Mark II for the most part, probably for the explosive slugs. So like maybe in certain circumstances it could be good, maybe like the G-Town 9 one, since a lot of different weapons can have explosive ammo after all. And then you have semi-auto and repeating, which I think the names of course do suggest that one's semi-automatic, one's perhaps an automatic shotgun, kind of basically for repeating shotgun. So these two could definitely be some pretty good ones to own. Maybe pump action, and honestly a lot of shotguns can be pretty good to own if you're willing to like use them close up and everything. Me personally, I actually don't really do a lot of close up combat though, so shotguns aren't the most necessary, I feel. Repeaters a pretty good balance between close, mid, and long range, I feel, if there's like one thing that's good at like all ranges. Feels like GTA 9 where you like want to use like the assault rifles, you want to use like the repeaters after all, of course. The autos are 40% off though. And then particularly yes. Particularly for shotguns, there's also 40% off of the shotgun style customizations, not repeaters for some reason. There are just shotguns for the style customization, so for some reason, but yes. Back over to clothing, I did actually technically show this one earlier, but just to have some confirmation, just to provide some like 100% confirmation to the percentage and stuff. It was clearly on discount earlier, and it's a 30% off discount for the boots, apparently. I was in here earlier, of course, for the limited stock, as well as the free one for the outfit, the Kimi outfit, basically for the month, for sure. And last but not least, Bandoliers, apparently, will be the last one, and that's like a clothing theme, but for weapons. But yeah, not weapons, right? There's free categories of that, or weapon accessories, I mean. Bandoliers, I don't really think do anything though, and online at least they don't. I believe, I think it's only, I do think it's only the offhand holsters that do stuff actually in the game for your character, at least for online anyways. So yeah, purchasing yes, an offhand holster will allow you to dual wield two sidearms, yes. That's how you do that. It's not tied to the bandoliers are on discount though, no. So I don't really necessarily think it does anything much. It's just cosmetic, I think, for those, unfortunately. Alright, to see if I can somehow finish this within like 4 hours. Again, sorry it's almost 4 hours stream. I was falling asleep like crazy. Clearly, since my screen is like on alert idle and stuff for like a good bit of time. And whatnot. Again, sorry about that. I was just tired, but Red Dead Online, quite frankly, deserves a lot better anyways, so like, since Rockstar won't give it much content, might as well not mind, even if it does get in 4 hours, honestly. Again, I wasn't supposed to if I wasn't like, super ass tired and everything, but it is what it is. Especially for Reddit, I don't really care since I only do one stream for it a month. GTA Online is where I care more if that kind of thing happens. Quite frankly, I've been having a crazy, of course.
Howdy there. Welcome.
Have Minty big game for an event reward unlock. I can actually claim what? Why is that number 3? Is that usually number 3? I don't remember number 3 being lit up with mine before though. Kiddo. I'll take it though. Take it though. Alright, but Herbalist Collection apparently is the week 1 wicked collection. It shows a Great Owl, but there can be times I think where it is claiming that it could be Great Owl, but it's not for everything. So there can be a visual glitch of it, I believe, at times. So just do you want to check just in case?
Too many folks seem to be running from their problems.
Alright, but it was indeed done, okay. Again, I think it can glitch at times though, so I did just want to check. Alright, but yeah, progress. Rolls. Collector's bag for square there. Herbal's collection, I actually have one of them already. Apparently it's 12 hours and a minute left as when I picked it up, apparently. So what, like 11 a.m. in? Is that when like the event refreshes for Reddit? I'm not really sure. Whatever. That's Bloodflower, Chocolate Daisy, and Creek Plum, actually, which are all American wildflowers. And yeah, $120 collection value is definitely higher than usual, so it is 2 times. And so like $60 it probably would be normally. It's $120. Very good one here, actually. Like I was saying earlier, they are all above ground. American wildflowers are always above ground, and so you can guarantee you'll find them if you go on to GAN.ROPK. Also can find it on GTAWeb.eu, like I said. And you should be able to find them no problem if you do that. But yeah, very easy one. I would definitely go for that if you can. But yeah, just keep in mind the types of collectibles for other ones, of course. Won't be able to talk about those, of course. So I don't know if there's a way to look into it beforehand. And yeah, almost 4 hour stream here. I do want to try to get it to be within 3 hours, not 4 hours. So yeah, next stream is also going to be my GTA Online stream for the event week, which I really gotta do tomorrow, or of course Wednesday somehow, if not. Like I've been kind of doing lately, unfortunately. But yeah, almost no time until 4 hours now, so that's fine gonna be it for this stream though, definitely for sure. Again, sorry for falling asleep and stuff. Things have just not been great for me, I guess, for sleep and stuff recently. I hope you enjoy.